Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. As always, I am your host, Joe, and with me, as I said, as always, twice there, we're going to keep on rolling. Joe is also here. Say hi, Joe.
Hello!
Nice. So we've done it. It's the end of season 2. All the animators probably want to die. They're not going to get a chance to rest because they have the Chainsaw Man movie coming out that they got to do. But Joe, how did you feel about the end of season 2 here for Jujutsu Kaisen?
Once again, we have a lot to talk about and a lot of things that I didn't think we were going to be talking about. I will say that for the Shibuya incident, I expected maybe 1% of all the stuff that happened. In this last episode, there's so much. There is so much, but I like it, and this was awesome. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I kind of want to, like you, I really enjoy everything that happened in season 2. It looked great for the most part to me. I enjoyed all the cool punch-ups that went on. I enjoyed a lot of the character stuff that happened here between, like, how Yuji feels about himself becoming a fucking murderer and not Toji, I'm going to keep doing this. Toto coming in and being the coolest big brother, then getting a secret big brother in Choso. A lot of cool stuff in here. I want to kind of parse that away because I'm getting flashbacks to the ending of what I'm going to forget whichever part it was. One of the parts of Attack on Titan final season. The part that I was angry about with the Torpedo Titans. I'm not as angry as I was at that as I am at this. I don't know if I Englished that properly. We'll fix it in post though. Anyway.
Joe, I have arguments for your arguments, and I'm ready to argue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am. This is good. I'm excited. I'm ready. What I would say about this final episode, it's by no means bad. I still think it's pretty good. Compared to the highs of this season, incredible. This episode, it's a lot of exposition, a bit of tonal inconsistency, which is nothing new for anime, but I really don't like it here, and I'll explain why in a little bit. And then also, kind of a slideshow ending for the back half sort of a thing. So, those are like the three main tenets of my problems that I got going on here. Those are the three main things here, Joe. A lot of exposition. Right here at the top, we learn so much about what Geto wants and what Geto is about to do because they just stand there and they talk so much about it.
Completely agree with you on this opinion in that there is a lot of exposition. But my argument will be that the whole season was very little exposition, so I'm okay with it happening here. Especially because when I think of like a finale episode, you're either going to have the big crazy stuff happening and then like the big cliffhanger, or in this case, all the crazy stuff has kind of happened and the roller coaster is over and you're kind of on that little straight stretch where you're catching your breath coming back to the front and you're getting off the ride. That's what this episode is. It's trying to set up some things, trying to tie up some knots, as well as answer some questions. But the exposition part with Geto it's a lot of talking and it's a little annoying. Totally get it. If it was like that all season, I would have been super, super frustrated. But really, this is the first time all season that it was like, okay, let's get moving here, buddy.
So just to lay everything out as far as we understand it, because again, we may be a couple of bleach sluts, but that doesn't mean we're the geniuses in the room all the time. So, Geto, or the corpse formerly known as Suguru Geto, I'm probably not going to address him like that all the time. Anyway, I think what Geto wants, he wants to usher in another golden age of Jujutsu. And so in order to do that, turns out he had gone around, and from my understanding, so I wrote some of this shit down, so he made pacts, or he did something to people, number 1, who absorbed cursed objects, like Yuji eating the fingers of Sukuna, and 2, people who had cursed techniques, like Jellyfish Boy from the first season, but they didn't have the sorcerer brain, so Suguru went in there and just, like, fiddled around with their brain until they could activate their techniques.
He touched a lot of people. He did a lot of touching.
He did so much unconsensual touching, it's no wonder this man is a fucking menace. The worst Jujutsu sorcerer in all of history. Something that I didn't... I don't want to get too deep into the mechanics, because this is something that I'm not even that well versed in at this point. I don't know who can do what and how some things affect other things. Turns out he can use Mahito's ability to do idol transfiguration and cause all this to take effect. I have questions, Joe. Number one, in season 1, it is established that Mojito is a very, very new curse, correct? It's implied that he shows up in our world relatively recently after we first see Jellyfish Boy.
That is correct.
Okay. And we could be wrong, because again, we're bleach sluts, not geniuses. A lot of people think those go hand in hand, but they don't always.
Well, I'm a doctor.
Well, there is that. I'm not. Anyway, he's new. So I find it a little hard to believe that Gato would have this, or the corpse formerly known as Gato. I'm just gonna stop. I'm nick that in the bud right now. I'm not doing that. I find it hard to believe that Gato would make this plan and need that specific ability to help him do this thing, even though it's implied in this episode that he's been touching the brains of people and the people who's absorbed the cursed objects for like decades. Like, he's been around for a while doing this shit. Has this technique been a thing for a while? And it just so happens that Mojito gets it? I don't really know. It doesn't make sense in my brain. Maybe because he touched it and now it's all fucked up. Gato, what are you doing? I didn't consent.
Joe, you have questions. I don't have answers. And I have questions. And you don't have answers. So right now, we're both again, there's a lot of exposition that doesn't make sense, or maybe will make sense later. And then I think, is the woman's name Yuki? Is cute blonde lady named Yuki?
Oh, I just have her in my notes as Blondie. I don't know what her name is.
Damn, well, you know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
She kind of is talking about to Gato like, hey, when I was talking to Gato, my opinion changed because this really wouldn't work out because it would all be in Japan, and then we're going to cause all these wars. So basically, the first, I don't know, maybe 5-7 minutes is a lot of exposition between Gato and this woman and the other characters watching, and we're getting the idea of what the master plan has been, because that's kind of been what JJK has been lacking, not as in a negative sense, but you're waiting for it, like who is the big baddie, and now we got the big baddie, and we got his plans carried out. And really, that part, which again, you have manga readers, you have non-manga readers, could be like a really important reveal. Joe and I, we're just two Joes, and we don't really know what the hell this guy said, so we're like, all right, whatever, that doesn't make sense. Where's the fighting? So, for me, that's the low of this episode. The high of this episode, the impact of Shibuya incident, which, Joe, you have talked about that. You were like, I like how they're kind of hinting at all this damage is having repercussions on the real world. And if there's one thing this episode does, not just good, but phenomenal, is set up the repercussions for the real world and have impact on the world for JJK.
Yes, I will completely agree with that. The impact that has occurred from this, you have like news reporters, you have people kind of seeing what the fuck's going on, you have a girl in like the Last of Us style just eating rice out of a little container. I am very happy that this has had a very tangible effect on the real world. There are people in fucking conference rooms having business calls with everyone else being like, oh, okay, so like the yen isn't worth a whole lot anymore. Okay, well, we got to try and figure this shit out. What are we going to tell the people? Oh, we're going to tell them this. No, actually, we're going to tell them that. At one point, they even say like they're going to reveal curses to the world, but they're going to say they're only found in Tokyo. The public will believe that. Don't you worry. It's like... Whoa, okay, so you have a whole bunch of other people who presumably know about this shit. Like, I never really knew how many people actually knew about curses, because it's implied not many. That's like the Jujutsu highs, the Jujutsu schools don't have a lot of staff, number one, or students, number two. So there aren't that many people that really fight curses, much less know about them. So the fact that there are people in like higher up companies that can just be like, we're gonna reveal curses. It's like, wait a minute, you know about this shit? Whoa, okay, that's interesting. The tone of that is quite nice. I don't think there's a whole lot of music playing throughout any of that. It's just kind of like people looking at shit. Oh, there's a little bit of music, but that's only after the cameraman gets eaten by a curse. And then you have to cut to the "we'll be right back" sign or technical difficulty sign. And then you get
and it's like they're playing a Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
Or like a Makoto Shinkai movie.
Yeah, it's just simple.
A fucking train.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like, curse comes barreling through the apartment, and devours both of those people. That was so unintentionally funny to me. But like that's like an unintentional humor thing, even though it's setting up the mood and the atmosphere of everything being like, oh, we're in the fallout of this massive, horrifying single night event. What does this look like now going forward? I like that tone. I like that feeling. Back to more towards like the beginning with Blondie, there's a lot of comical. Yeah, she has a lot of comical moments. And again, it's anime. I understand that. I can't help but feel like it's trying, like, especially with this season of anime, of shonen anime. I'm saying this a whole lot because I'm specifically I'm trying to make a point here, Joe. Shibuya Incident feels like shonen anime trying to be more adult, or at least more consistent in a serious tone. It's taking its world seriously, it's taking its characters seriously, not to a fault, but it's taking everything a bit more seriously. And then Blondie drops in, and it's all like, hey, we're gonna get chibi styling again. We're gonna go fucking crazy with some of the art style, making jokes here and there. And it's not like Toto where you have like one or two sort of thing over the course of like 2 or 3 episodes, because again, he does have his shit where he does that, lock it, and then he's in his imagination, blah blah blah. But she drops in and she's just like, all right, we got like 3 back to back to back to back, baby. And it's while we're doing like all the expositing. Like, I'm sure they were like, all right, we gotta have the big bodacious blonde lady come in, and that way everyone will pay attention. We have to explain everything that these characters want, which we haven't expressly stated. Like, anyway, she's gonna come in, she'll be funny, it'll keep everyone's attention. It'll be like, hey, now you know that Gato wants to optimize cursed energy and Blondie wants to free humanity from it. And then you're gonna be like, what? How do you optimize? What the fuck? Doesn't matter. Look at her be funny. Look at her make jokes. Look at Yuji also going chibi mode. It's like, I can pay attention without you doing that stuff, you know? You don't have to do it.
I completely agree. I know what you're saying. And that stuff bothers you a lot more than it bothers me. Not saying I enjoyed it. It definitely was like, all right, we don't have to do this. And I've done a little bit of looking online, and it seems like this is her character. Like, she's always like this.
Great.
Which does not bode well for Joe.
I love it. Not gonna get tired of that ever in a million years.
So I get you. Doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you. One thing I will say, for the first time in multiple episodes, the episode starts with just getting right into the opening, which at this point, I fucking love this opening. It is so great. I really enjoy it. But Joe, I hope to God you know where I'm going with this, and I hope to God you picked up on it, because I was so proud of myself. There's an extra fucking, not frame, but scene in the opening, and I paused and I go, what the fuck? That wasn't there before. There's a scene of a guy pulling out a sword in the opening.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck, is that in the other ones? And it wasn't. So I'm like, oh my God, is he coming back? Is he going to be in this episode? And he fucking is. My boy Yuta Okotsu is back, and oh boy, it seems he is going to have a very big role in the future.
Yeah. I had absolutely no idea that Yuta was going to be such a key player going forward. Like, I knew he came back at some point, because you can't escape manga panels on the internet. People are like, look at this thing! And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have context, but whatever. So I knew that Yuta was coming back at the end of this season, because again, the internet. God bless you guys, but also fuck you guys. When he shows up, I was like, yo, that's pretty dope. I love the scene of him talking to the girl, and then you just see the curse moving behind him, and I'm like, does she see that? What's going on here? And it gets absolutely gojoed into the next building, and he just completely covers her eyes. He's like, nope, you're too young. You don't want to see this. We don't get to see Rika, which I'm a little upset about. I'm like, dude, imagine we saw Rika in a new art style.
Me too. I wanted to see her so bad.
So I was like, oh, come on, show me Rika. I want to fucking see her. But they're saving it. And then we get one of the Gojo, Eva. What Eva? No, not Eva. It's totally Eva. References! Anyway, we get one of the scenes. Yuta's in, I'm going to use big air quotes here. You can't see it because it's a podcast. We just imagine it real quick. The council. And he's just talking to me. He's like, look, I know Gojo's gone. You guys can't stop me, though. I'm too powerful and too much of a badass. And also, I am going to fucking kill Yuji Itadori. And I was like, whoa, okay. That is not what I was expecting to be happening here. But turns out, Sukuna made an oopsie and cut off Inumaki's arm. We get a single shot of that, and he's all wrapped up in the weird cursed bandages. Uh-oh, made an enemy of the movie boy. What's going to be happening in the next season? It's probably going to be them fighting or something.
Really, the shocking thing for me was the still frame sentences. Now that Gato has been found to be alive, bits are like, hey, go kill this guy and we'll give you money, or like, we want him dead. They also are saying that Gojo is responsible for Shibuya incident or co-conspirator. So releasing him from the prison is forbidden. The principal, I can't remember if he was fired or also he's supposed to be executed.
He's also supposed to be executed. It's like, whoa, come on. You didn't know.
And Yuji is now supposed to be executed. So all this stuff is being set up and you're like, holy shit, is this all going to happen?
I don't know what's going on. I'm imagining season 3 of this is very much going to be like a Jujutsu Kaisen on the run kind of deal, where Yuji's now a felon and they want to kill him. Gojo is a co-conspirator of this insane bullshit, so they're like, just keep him in the Rubik's Cube. It's fine. We don't. If you try and free him, we're gonna arrest you or kill you or one of the two. They don't really arrest anyone. They kind of just kill people, unless you're Gojo and you're so powerful you don't care. Then you're like, I'll arrest them because it won't matter. They can't hurt me. That's what he did to Yuta. That's what he did to Yuji. He ain't there no more, though. So it's like, we don't really have the ability to capture any of you guys safely, so we're just going to kill you. And it's like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. It feels like the first season was like obviously laying the foundation, laying the groundwork for a lot of this stuff. A bit more of like a traditional shonen series. Season 2, it feels like we've been descending a dark staircase. And we've just arrived at, I don't know if it's the bottom level, but it's the first level in this dark chasm. And I feel like season 3 is going to be taking place in this dark chasm, and I am here for it. Because again, like I said, I'm a fan of when this stuff kind of takes itself a bit more seriously. And if it's JJK on the run, I can imagine that can be a bit more serious. But then again, Blondie is also here now, and who the fuck knows, because apparently she's just a walking meme. So,
Overall, I will say, Shibuya Incident Season 2 JJK was phenomenal. Probably my favorite thing that I watched this year. I had an amazing time. I think it wrapped up well. It didn't wrap up how I thought it was going to be, but I don't think it was bad at all. I think this whole season was great. I think the setup for Season 3, which has already been confirmed. But one thing, Joe, we didn't talk about, and we got a lot of scenes of this character that we know very little about, and I was expecting a little bit more, but I guess it's going to come up later, is Fushiguro's sister is one that was touched by Gato, and I'm assuming she's going to turn into a villain. Yeah, a villain of some sort. So, good setup. Overall, JJK Season 2, phenomenal. Loved it. Had a great time. Can't wait to rewatch this from Season 1. Excited for the future of JJK. And to everyone at MAPPA, all the people, well, the MAPPA people who like actually set up like the timeline, you guys suck. The animators, you guys are cool. Go take a break. You need to go on a vacation. This was awesome. And I think both you and I have been happily surprised with this show.
Yeah, 100%. I love Season 2 so much. It's skyrocketed into one of my favorite shows of the year and of anime of all time. I think this season ended kind of weak. It's really just a setup for Season 3, which isn't terrible, but it doesn't detract at all from any of the other insane shit that we got throughout the entire rest of the season. And yes, animators, please, go to sleep. Go to sleep for like a month or something. You've given us more than enough to chew on for the next couple of months. We're good. Kiss your families. Eat a pot pie. I don't fucking know what you do over there. Anyway, with that being said, everyone, I sincerely hope you enjoyed all of Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen as much as we did, because good God, did we have a fucking blast with this show. It's great. And if you are listening to this and you haven't seen it, you're mentally insane. I would arrest you, but we don't have Gojo anymore, so we can't do that, so instead we're just going to find you and kill you. Anyway, with all that being said, everyone always remember, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye!